should always study even while we are filing the proceedings. The urgency of the matter is the heart of the advocate's profession. We have to always have due regard to the sufferings of the client and should try to get relief for him. If I am for the plaintiff, I should file correct suit in correct court, apply for interim reliefs, try to get them. If I don't get, I should file appeal immediately and approach the appellate court and try to get that relief. If I am for the defendant, I must take care that the plaintiff does not get relief. And if he gets relief, I must immediately try to file an appeal and try to obtain stay of the trial court's order. All these things have urgency as the basis of quick action, and the speed with which we work for our client in the right manner and in the right direction creates the feeling of assurance and dependability in the client's mind. With this introduction, now let us go to the topics themselves. The urgent orders which are contemplated by Civil Procedure Code are mainly contained in sections which are found in part of the CPC, part 4, and sections, part 6, and sections 94 and 95 mainly. Now see the provisions of section 94. You may not be required to open the book. I'll read them to you shortly and in a speedy manner. Now, section 94, 1, clause A, issue of arrest of defendant and requiring the defendant to give security for presence before the court. B, direct defendant to furnish security to produce property and to place it at the disposal of the court. C, to grant temporary injunction and for disobedience of the order of injunction to commit him to civil prison and order attachment or sale of his property. D, to appoint a receiver of any property and enforce performance of his duties by attaching and selling his property. E, to make such other interlocutory orders as may appear to the court to be just and convenient. Now, if we look to these sections, each of these clauses has a corresponding separate order providing for rules to govern the procedure of such applications. Now, for example, if section 94B is seen, corresponding order is order 38, attachment of the property to secure the property for the purpose of abiding by the result of the suit. Then C, to grant temporary injunction, has corresponding order 39. Rules 1, 2, 2A, 4 and 11 are the main rules governing these orders. Then D, appointment of a court receiver is governed by order 40. The procedure is given in order 40. Then E, make such other interlocutory orders as may appear to the court to be just and convenient. Now this has corresponding section again, section 151. And there is no detailed procedure like order and rules for the purpose of giving effect to this clause E, because ultimately court is given the widest discretion to pass orders. Now you will mark that these are the important provisions which enable us to approach the court for urgent ad interim and interim reliefs. Now interlocutory orders are passed in the aid of the final relief. Therefore, the urgent orders which we want to seek for our client must always be related to and intimately connected with the final relief which we are asking for our client. Now, the limitation for the filing of the appeals against the interim orders is also an important aspect, but which we'll deal little later on. Now, with this short introduction of the urgent interlocutory orders, I go to the important topic of definitions of the term order and decree. Section 2, subsection 2 provides the definition of decree. Decree means formal expression of adjudication that conclusively determines matters in controversy. Now, decree is deemed to include rejection of plaint and determination of any question within section 144 of CPC, namely restitution. But it shall not include, so definition is inclusive and excluding certain provisions. Now, it shall not include any adjudication from which an appeal lies, an appeal from order, or any order of dismissal for default. Now, this provision that any adjudication from which an appeal lies as an appeal from order is a very important topic, and you may note that the corresponding order is order 43, rule 1, clauses A to U, and rule number 2. Now, this order, definition of order is given in section 2, subsection 14. That is defined as order means formal expression of any decision of a civil court which is not a decree. Now, those who have heard of a song, Neti Neti Manati Govindure. Now, na iti, this is not. What is order? Which is not a decree. So it is defined in two parts. One, it is a formal expression of any decision of a civil court, but not a decree. Therefore, this is very important part. Now, we go to the next very important point. As I have given in my note, which I have written yesterday and today, appeal is a creature of statute. Now, why this phrase is used? You will notice that filing of a suit is an inherent right in every person, unless the suit is specifically barred by any particular act and any particular section. I'll give you examples of bar of suits, which you are always all aware. There are bars of suits provided in revenue laws, because revenue authorities are created by Land Revenue Code, Tenancy Act, and therefore suits are barred in respect of subject matter of those acts. Similarly, there is a bar of suit in municipal laws. Suit against municipality may not be available as of right in all situations. There are certain situations like taxation matters where municipal tax is levied, and the person who wants to challenge the tax cannot straightaway go to the court and file a suit. Therefore, about filing of the suit, the right to file a suit is always an inherent right in a litigant, unless the suit is specifically barred. That is not so in respect of filing of the appeal. That is why the appeal is called as a creature of statute. The appeal must have been provided for in the act itself, and then only such order or decree is appealable. I'll give you an illustration of bar of appeal. See section 6 of the Specific Relief Act. I'll read to you the section. Subsection 2 says, it specifically says, it reads like this: no appeal shall lie from any order or decree passed in any suit instituted under this section, nor shall any review of any such order or decree be allowed. Now this, if you note this, the difference will be clear, and then you will know why appeal is called a creature of the statute. Now, if the appeal is specifically provided for, it is further provided as to who shall file an appeal and on what conditions the appeal courts shall entertain the appeal. Like in taxation matters, the right of appeal is created. but it is circumscribed by a condition that one who wants to prefer an appeal has to deposit the order, has to deposit the amount which the trial authority has ordered to be levied or recovered from the person who wants to challenge the levy. Therefore, appeal is a creature of statutes, means created by the statute and subject to the conditions which the statute itself, while creating that right of appeal, imposes on the exercise of that right. Now, you will see that there are two sections mainly which are providing for appeal against decree. One, section 96. Section 96 provides for an appeal against the original decree, and section 100 provides for appeal against appellate decree. Now, appeal under sections 96 is to the High Court or to the district court in given circumstances, which I will immediately come to. Section 100 is an appeal against appellate decree, and which is always to the second appeal to the High Court only. Now, how does the jurisdiction get fixed for filing first appeal, in the district court or in the High Court? For that, we will have to consider the provisions of Bombay Civil Courts Act. That act prescribes for civil judge junior division court, civil judge senior division court, district court, and then it provides, depending on the valuation of the suits, pecuniary jurisdiction is fixed either with the civil judge junior division or with the civil judge senior division. Now, when a suit is to be filed against government, it has necessarily to be filed in the civil judge senior divisions court, and depending on the valuation of the suit, the first appeal will lie either to the district court or to the High Court. Now, in case of suits filed in civil judge junior divisions court, the appellate jurisdiction is mostly with the district court, and there the district court entertains the appeal as a first appeal. Now, for appeal under section 96, the terminology used by the act is Civil Procedure Code is first appeal. So far as the district court appeal is concerned against the final decree, it is called civil appeal, and it is tried before the district court. After the district court decides first appeal, then second appeal lies to the High Court. Now, when the appeal is filed before the district court or the High Court, the provisions, detailed provisions are provided in order 41, and 41 governs the procedure of filing appeal and scope of appellate powers and jurisdiction of the court and powers to interfere with the trial court decree. Now, see, main rules of order 41 are rule 5, which is a rule providing for stay of the trial court's execution of the trial court's decree. Rule 23 and 23A pertain to power to remand a suit. Rule 27 provides for additional evidence, and Rule 33 provides for powers of appellate court. And then section 99 provides for restrictions on the powers of the appeal court. Section 100 is for second appeals, and the relevant order is order 42, which says that the appeal, so far as it is provided, so the procedure for deciding second appeal is, so far as it relates to the first appeal, it is more or less similar as far as may be. Therefore, the procedure is more or less similar. Now, I will give you an illustration of who can file appeal. Usually, the person who is party to the suit has a right of appeal given by the statute. What about a person who is not party to the suit, but the order may directly affect him, directly cause injustice to him or prejudice to him? Then what is his remedy? The remedy is not provided specifically by the Civil Procedure Code, but it is inherent in the provisions of the section 95 and again 151. Section 151 is a very important section which says that the inherent powers of the civil courts to meet the ends of justice and to prevent abuse of process of court. The civil court will have ample power. Therefore, if the person is not a party to the suit and the order passed, interim order or final decree passed is causing prejudice to him, he has a right to file appeal, but with a rider that he has to file an application for leave to file appeal against that order or decree of the trial court. Now, I'll give you a concrete illustration. Our leader who is organizing this seminar, Mr. Sangram Desai, had contacted me in respect of an order passed by a civil judge junior division, where in private dispute between two landholders, the trial court granted an injunction, interim relief, in the nature of interim injunction, preventing the defendant from using the private road. According to plaintiffs, it was a private road, from using that road through their land. And what happened was, that road was a road used for transporting ST buses, flying ST buses thereon. And the result of this interim order was that the buses would not ply on that road to their destination and again to the original place from which it came. There were school-going children, there were people residing in the locality. They could not use the ST bus. Now, Mr. Desai contacted me and said, what should be the proceedings in High Court? Should we file the proceedings in the High Court? I said, since it was an order of Civil Judge Junior Division, District Court would be the forum for filing an appeal if it is to be filed. And High Court would not entertain any appeal. Even if we try to file a writ petition invoking discretionary powers of the High Court under Article 227, it may not be possible for the High Court to interfere immediately unless the High Court issues notice to the respondent and grants the interim relief after hearing the respondent, which would again entail further delay in the matter. Now, if this was the position, then we could not have approached the High Court fruitfully with any result in our favor so soon. I suggested to him that we should file an application for leave to file miscellaneous civil appeal before the district court against the trial court's interim order and try to obtain interim relief in the nature of stay of that interim injunction granted against the defendant. Now, this idea or the suggestion was readily accepted by Mr. Desai, and Sangram filed miscellaneous civil appeal before the district court, and the district court was persuaded by his able arguments to immediately grant an order staying that order of interim injunction against the defendant. And once the stay of injunction was granted, the ST buses could ply easily on that road because there was no hurdle. Now, this provision is not given in CPC. This is evolved by a case law. The earliest judgment perhaps was under section 96. If I remember rightly, it was the division bench judgment of which Chief Justice Chagla was a party. I could not lay my hands on that judgment so immediately. But this position is accepted by now the Supreme Court, and I have given two judgments which you may simply note. 2013 9 volume SCC 261, which is Hardevinder versus Paramjit, and it relies on the earlier judgment of Supreme Court, AIR 1971 Supreme Court, page 374, Jatan Kumar versus Golcha Properties. Now, this you must always bear in mind. And one suggestion I want to make to you, all of you, once you are trying your best to get result for your client earnestly and sincerely, the hard work is the only key to success. You must try to imagine that you have to get this result for the client, and therefore you have to make research and try to find out You may talk to your seniors in the bar. You may talk to me, to Mr. Khande Parkar, to seek guidance in the matter. Our experience, if we are able by our experience to give you suggestions, we are always open to it. Now, we go to the next point. So far as decree or final decree is concerned, I have given to you two sections, 96 and 100, about first appeal and second appeal. Now we come to the very, very important topic of Order 43, which provides for appeal from order to be filed in the appellate court. And there the problem really begins, as I will presently show to you. I have given to you one case yesterday, which is a case of Har Vilas case, which is reported in 1994 Bombay Rent Cases 366 or equivalent citation 1993 to Maharashtra Law Journal, page 1435. Now, I have taken this case for the illustration to show to you that we must always read the main sections of the Civil Procedure Code, and in conjunction with the main sections, we must read the orders and rules. Orders and rules are those which the central government has legislated for the purpose of working out the provisions of sections, and the rules are provided for detailed procedure to work out the provisions of the sections. Now, the provision of the Civil Procedure Code enables High Court to provide for certain rules which are not very much inconsistent with the main order and rules provided by the central government or the central legislature, and such rules can be provided by the High Court by notification. Now, it so happened that Order 39, Rule 11 of the central legislation makes mention of Rule 2A. Rule 2A provides for consequences of disobedience of the interim injunction order passed by the civil court. If there is a disobedience, as we have seen in section 95 earlier, the provision is the provision which I read to you from that section was to clause C, to grant temporary injunction, and for disobedience to commit the person to civil prison and order attachment or sale of his property. Now, these consequences are provided by Rule 11, and Rule 2A also makes provision to work out this main provision of the section. Now, 2A is to be found in central legislation, but it was deleted by High Court by a notification of about 1983. Now, when a case came up before the High Court in the matter of Dry Chilies Brokers Association, which case is reported in 1992 Maharashtra Law Journal, page 1503. What happened was, the person who was opposing the action of contempt or the remedy of appeal filed by the other side, the court was brought to read the provisions of Order 43, Rule 1, U, as found in the central legislation. It mentioned 2A, but the Bombay Amendment did not mention 2A. And therefore, it was argued that if the Bombay Amendment does not provide for an action under Order 2A, then the appeal provided by Order 43, Rule 1U will not, 1R, will not enable the party to file that appeal. And the High Court saw that Rule 2A was not mentioned in the relevant rule 1 hour, and therefore High Court said that the appeal was not maintainable as appeal from order. Now this provision came again for consideration before Justice Tipnis of our High Court, and that judgment is reported in 1993 to Marsh Law Journal 1435. There the learned judge held that even if Rule 2A was omitted from Order 43 1R of Bombay Amendment, and it was found in central legislation, it made no difference so far as the maintainability of the appeal from order was concerned. Why? Because clause of section 94, clause C, which provided that it would be open to the to the court to punish the person for such disobedience of the court's order, and then it referred to section 104. I mentioned earlier that section 104 is very, very important. Now section 104 provides for the action, and it says that the appeal from order will lie from following orders and from none others. Now I'll read to you section 104, which says the appeal shall lie from the following orders, and save as otherwise provided in the body of this court or by any law for the time being in force, from no others. Therefore it has two limbs. One is appeal shall lie from the following orders, and it shall not lie from any other orders unless there is an express provision. Now see what happens. The clause H of the section 104 says, an order under any of the provisions of this code imposing fine or directing arrest or detention in civil prison of any person except where such arrest or detention is in execution of a decree. Now, if this provision was brought to the notice of the learned judge who decided Dry Chilies Association case, the position was very clear that section 104, which provides for appeal from an order, itself provided that such an order imposing fine or punishment of arrest in civil prison for disobedience of injunction order of the court was entitled to file an appeal from order in the appellate court. Therefore, Justice Tipnis explained in his later judgment that this position of section 104 was not brought to the notice of the earlier court, and therefore the judgment was given in that manner on that point as it is given, holding the appeal not maintainable. Justice Tipnis held that the appeal is maintainable. Now this is very important aspect of the matter, because if fortunately in that first case, the learned judge who held that the appeal was not maintainable extended the interim order of protection from the detention. Now imagine a case where the learned judge, who may not be sympathetic, who may not have compassion for the person who is suffering the order of imprisonment, and he may not grant time to the lawyer, and then in that event the person would suffer because he would have to go to jail for want of proper appropriate order of appellate court staying the injunction, the order of civil prison detention. Therefore we must be aware of the exact remedies which are available, and that is why I am emphasizing that section 104 to section 106 are very, very, very important from the point of view of challenging the interim orders of the trial court in the appellate court. Now see how the section 104 is worded. Appeals shall lie from the following orders and save as otherwise provided from no others. Therefore now, as I told you earlier, Appeal is a creature of statute. So if the appeal is provided from the following orders, we don't have to depend on the mercy of the appellate court to entertain our appeal. We have a right to file that appeal. But so far as other orders are concerned, we have no right. Therefore, now we will go to section 105. 105 says that unless expressly provided, no appeal shall lie from any order in original or appellate jurisdiction. But such error, defect or irregularity can be raised as ground in appeal from final decree. Now this is for the time being not very important. Now next section is very, very, very important, and you may note section 106. I will read to you that section 106 immediately, because it causes many problems and we must know the solution. Now see section 106. I will read to you. It says, where an appeal from any order is allowed means provided for. Where an appeal from any order is allowed, it shall lie to the court to which an appeal would lie from the decree in the suit in which such order was made, or where such order is made by a court not being a high court in exercise of appellate jurisdiction, then to the high court. Now see what is the significance of this. An appeal from order shall lie to that court to which appeal from the final decree in the suit in which this interim order is passed will lie. For example, civil judge junior division is entertaining a decree, a suit for partition or suit for enforcement of agreement. Interim injunction order is passed or refused. Party has to go to appeal. One who has lost has to go to appeal. Now he has to choose the appellate forum. The appellate forum will be district court, to which appeal from the final decree in that suit would lie. Now ordinarily this may not create a problem, because we file suits, civil suits in the civil judge junior division court. Interim orders are liable to be challenged in the appeal, miscellaneous civil appeal in the district court. Now the problem arises this way. I'll give you an illustration. Now kindly see section 34 of the Maharashtra Rent Control Act. And what does it say? Section 34 provides for appeal against the decree, final decree passed in a rent tax suit. Now where in districts the rent act jurisdiction is given to the civil judge junior division, and section 34 provides for appeal against the final decree. Now this decree is passed by the civil judge. Say there is a decree of eviction and the defendant goes to the appeal. Appellate court is district court. Now there is no further appeal in the rent act matters to the high court like second appeal. Because it is a rent act matter, further appeal is barred specifically. And as I said, appeal is a creature of statute, because the provision of rent act has not provided for further appeal, and there is a bar of further appeal, no further appeal will lie. Now take a case where in an appeal against the decree of the trial court in rent tax suit, the appeal court passes an order of remand of the suit. What will be the further remedy of the party who has lost and who wants to challenge that order of remand? Don't think that you are practicing only in districts and therefore you will not be required to consider this question. We must be aware of all the provisions so far as they are, so far as it is possible for us to understand them. Now see what happens. Take out order 43, rule 1, and there the order of remand is made appealable. Now see order 43, and we will immediately go to that particular provision where the order of remand is made appealable. See clause U of rule 1, and it says that an order under rule 23 or rule 23A of order 41 remanding a case when an appeal would lie from the decree of the appellate court. Now it so actually happened that one of my friends who was appearing for the person in whose favor the order of remand was passed, and his opponent had come to High Court by way of writ petition. Now my friend objected to that, saying that the order of remand is appealable under order 43, rule 1 and sub-rule U. And Justice D.K. Deshmukh prima facie accepted that objection, and he said that writ petition would not be maintainable. Now when the friend discussed with me, he had succeeded. He discussed with me. I told him, look, there is no further appeal provided against the appellate decree. Now section 106 says that appeal would lie to that court to which appeal from final decree would lie. Now, if there is no further appeal provided because the Rent Act bars further appeal to the High Court, then how can High Court entertain it by way of an appeal from order? He did not agree with me. Then his opponent engaged a senior lawyer, one Mr. Punwani from Bombay. He was very senior to me also. He is now dead. He raised this point again in review petition before Justice Deshmukh. He pointed out that the appellate jurisdiction is barred so far as High Court is concerned in Rent Act matters. Therefore, order of remand, which would ordinarily be an appealable order, will not be open to appeal by way of appeal from order in the High Court. Justice Deshmukh accepted his contention and he allowed the review application. He restored the writ petition and decided it. Then he admitted it. Now, this I am pointing out because this is a very important provision, and therefore appeal would lie to that court to which appeal from final decree would lie. And here again, now remember I mentioned to you section 6 of the Specific Relief Act. It bars further appeal. The section 6 suit in the trial court is decided. There is no appeal provided against any order or decree in a suit under section 6 of the Specific Relief Act. If that is so, appeal from order would not lie. Therefore, if you are handling a case under section 6 of the Specific Relief Act in the trial court, Civil Judge Junior Division, and there is order passed of interim injunction restraining the defendant from parting with the possession of the suit premises, where would an appeal lie? Order of injunction is appealable. Order of receiver is appealable. But appeal is provided, appellate forum is provided in a court to which appeal from final decree would lie. If there is no appeal provided and appeal is barred against the final decree to the district court, then there is no question of filing appeal from order in the district court, because there is a bar of appeal against final decree. Therefore, section 106 is very important, and you will always have to be careful about this. Now, there is another point. When the appeal from order is provided, we file appeal. If there is no appeal from order, then the principle is that if the appeal is not maintainable and not open to be filed, then the party can resort to the remedy of revision. Now, main revision provision is 115 of the Civil Procedure Code. That revision application is on 3 grounds. One, error of jurisdiction. The jurisdiction vested in the court is not exercised, or the exercise jurisdiction not vested in it, etc. Now that revision is again not available against interlocutory orders, because there is a provision which bars challenge to the interlocutory order by way of civil revision application. Therefore, we will have to file a writ petition. We should know, I am talking to you, District Court Bar Association members. Don't think that you are only to deal with the appeals in the district court. You will have to study this point again, because when you are trying to bring some matter to the High Court, you should also be aware, even if you don't come yourself and try to, you guide your client to engage some lawyer, you should be firm about your study of the situation, and you should be able to discuss this with the High Court lawyer which the client may engage, saying that this is your opinion, that the remedy is this and not the remedy by way of AO, or if it is AO maintainable, then not the remedy of appeal. Now, as I told you, appeal from order is maintainable in respect of remand matters. Therefore, you should be able to guide your client that this order will be open to challenge by way of appeal from order. Now, as I was mentioning to you about revision, see section 34 of the Rent Act again. There is a revision application provided to the appellate court in certain given circumstances. Now, what are those circumstances? There is an interim order, say for fixing the standard rent, or there is an interim order allowing amendment, rejecting amendment. Now, there is a revision application provided to the district court by section 34, subsection 4, where no appeal lies under this section from a decree or order in any suit or proceedings. In Bruhan Mumbai, it should be before the division bench of 2 judges. And in the court outside, in the district, it should be before the district judge. And the district court is given power to find out whether the decree or order was according to law. Now, according to law is an important phrase, because then the district court's jurisdiction or revisional court's jurisdiction is limited or restricted, and he can't have the discretion as he would have in the appeal from the final decree. Now, this revision is again with restricted scope, and therefore wherever there is no appeal provided, the revision application is open to be filed. And if the interlocutory order is there and no revision application is allowed, then by way of a writ petition. Now, these are broadly the provisions of the sections and orders. Now, I will bring to your notice one more provision which is there in order 43. Kindly see the order order 43, rule 1U, and that covers a provision of W. I'm sorry. You see the provision of W. In Central Act, it is said an order under Rule 4 of Order 47 granting an application for review. Now here, you kindly see Order 47, because that is important. Order 47 may be seen for a minute. Rule 7 of Order 47 provides order of rejection of review application not appealable, but order granting review application is appealable as an appeal from order. Now, why I am pointing out to you this is, as I said earlier, section 104 and read with order 43 makes it clear that it is the statute which creates the appeal from order. So section 104 narrates certain orders, interim orders, which are liable to be challenged in appeal from order. Order 43 gives a catalog of orders from subrule A to subrule W, and the section and the order 43 opens with this: an appeal shall lie from the following orders under the provisions of section 104. So if section 104 and order 43 are read together, it is not only those provided in section 104 or provided in order 43 rule 1 which are appealable orders, because section 104 says and which are provided for by the provisions of this act or other acts. Now order 47 rule 7 is one of such provisions which provides for orders of review application being allowed which can be challenged by way of appeal from order. Therefore, these are the provisions which make it clear that appeal is a creature of statute. You can file appeal only if it is provided for by a person who is allowed to file an appeal. And if a party, if the person is not a party to the suit in which the interim order is passed, he can file an appeal by leave of the court. So these are broadly the provisions. Now, we must always bear it in mind that we must be sure of our own position, and therefore we must always study these provisions. Now, what is the procedure for appeal from order? The section 1, I'll tell you the procedure. The provision is that so far as the procedure is concerned, the procedure of order 41 will apply to order 43, and that is rule 2 of order 43. Rule 2 reads that the provisions of order 41 will apply to the provisions, to the appeals from orders from provided in order 43. Now see, this is the rules of order. Rule 2 of order 43 reads, the rules of order 41 shall apply so far as may be to appeals from orders, and therefore in appeal from order the court will follow the procedure of order 41, which provides for procedure for appeals from final decrees. Now these are broadly the provisions of the act, and I have now covered almost all the provisions which were in my mind and to be read along with the case law which I have given to you since yesterday and today in my small notes. And if now you have any questions, you can ask me. With this, I have emphasized the importance of the provisions of appeal from order and jurisdiction of the court, so that we are able to take proper care of the interest of our client. Now, if Sangram, if anybody has any questions, they can ask me. Hello. Hello.
हॅलो.
हा
हॅलो.
हा हॅलो.
आपण क्वेश्चन आन्सर स्टार्ट करूया का?
हो हो हो, म्हणूनच मी थोडं आवरलं लवकर, कारण याच्याबद्दल क्वेश्चन्स असतील तर आय विल बी ग्लॅड टू आन्सर टू द बेस्ट ऑफ माय एबिलिटी.
ओके सर, ज्याला कोणाला क्वेश्चन विचारायचे असतील त्यांनी एकाने तेवढा पुरता फक्त ऑन करा आणि स्टार्ट. आय थिंक एक मिनिट. फर्स्ट इज उमेश सावंत वॉन्ट्स टू आस्क अ क्वेश्चन. उमेश, तू पहिला विचारून घे प्रश्न.
हा.
हॅलो उमेश. हॅलो. हॅलो. हॅलो, म्यूट केलाय का? हॅलो,
हॅलो.
हा उमेश. हॅलो,
उमेश, काय प्रश्न आहे? हॅलो.
काय आलंय सर?
उमेशचा माईक म्यूट आहे.
एनिवे, दुसरा कोणाचा असेल तर यू गो हेड आस्क क्वेश्चन.
सर मला क्वेश्चन आहे.
हा हा, बोल.
Sir, in a suit, if a decree is passed, and in
Huh.
that suit, I am not a party, and that decree is affecting my rights. So
Right.
whether I have a right to file an appeal?
You have no right to file appeal. You have a right to file an application for leave to file appeal. आणि मी ती दोन जजमेंट्स दिली आहेत. दिस इज बाय वे ऑफ डेव्हलपिंग द लॉ अंडर सेक्शन 96. मी तुला दोन जजमेंट्स दिले आहेत. हर देविंदर वर्सेस परमजीत आणि जतन कुमार वर्सेस गोलच्या प्रॉपर्टीज. यू कॅन फाईल एन ऍप्लिकेशन फॉर लीव टू फाईल अपील आणि अपील कोर्ट विल गिव्ह यू लीव इफ यू आर रिअली अफेक्टेड. बोल उमेश.
Hello, sir.
हॅलो.
Kindly enlighten us about the provisions of cross objections in appeals. Many times the decree is neither in favor of plaintiff nor in favor of defendants. In such a and mainly some issues are in favor of the defendants, but the suit is partly decreed. In such a circumstance, what would be the right
बरोबर.
provision?
आता हे बघ, जर हे बघ, एक तर डिक्री चॅलेंज करता येते, नुसतं फाइंडिंग चॅलेंज करता येत नाही. हा लॉ आहे, बरोबर. आता जो लॉ हॅलो,
Yes.
जो लॉ पार्टी नसलेल्या माणसाला अपील फाईल करण्याकरता लीव्ह टू फाईल अपील देतो, त्याच लॉचं एक्सटेन्शन क्रॉस ऑब्जेक्शन करता होणार. याचं कारण क्रॉस ऑब्जेक्शनचा स्कोप हा अपिला इतकाच आहे. इनफॅक्ट तशी जजमेंट्स आहेत, मी काल काढलेली, पण मला वाटलं नाही की हा प्रश्न येईल म्हणून आणि वाढेल म्हणून मी बोललो नाही. पण मी ती आपल्या वेबनारवर हे करतो, लोड करतो जजमेंट्स. मी ती काढली आहे. कसं आहे, क्रॉस ऑब्जेक्शनचा स्कोप हा अपिलाच्या स्कोप सारखाच असतो. त्यामुळे जर एखादा माणूस पार्टी नसेल आणि तो जर अपील करू शकत असेल लीव्ह टू फाईल अपील घेऊन, तसंच क्रॉस ऑब्जेक्शन करता होईल. मी त्याप्रमाणे तुम्हाला ते कळवतो. कारण आतापर्यंतच्या जजमेंट मध्ये प्रत्येक ठिकाणी कोर्टाने डिस्कस असं केलंय की क्रॉस ऑब्जेक्शनचा स्कोप हा अपिलाच्या स्कोप एवढाच असतो. खरं कसं आहे माहितीये का, की अपील फाईल केल्यानंतर जे क्रॉस ऑब्जेक्शन फाईल करता येतं, तर प्रोव्हिजन तुम्ही पहा की अपील जर डिसमिस अपील जर डिसमिस झालं समजा अपेलंटचं, तर क्रॉस ऑब्जेक्शन संपत नाही. मग क्रॉस ऑब्जेक्शन आर नंबर्ड ॲज अपील. कारण आपल्या अपिलामध्ये क्रॉस ऑब्जेक्शन डिफीट करायला अपील डिसमिस करून घेतलं तर गोंधळ होईल ना क्रॉस ऑब्जेक्शन वाल्याचा. म्हणून अपील जर डिसमिस झालं तर क्रॉस ऑब्जेक्शन चालू राहतात आणि दे आर नंबर्ड ॲज अपील. त्यामुळे सेम लॉजिक विल बी एक्सटेंडेड टू अ पर्सन हु इज नॉट अ पार्टी टू द सूट but who wants to file cross objections. ते मी बघून सांगतो.
Yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. Thank you sir.
Sir, continuing with this particular question, मला एक असं विचारायचं होतं सर की whether suppose there are 4 or 5 issues in a particular judgment, most of the issues are answered in my favor but one issue is not answered. मी अपील नाही केलं दाखल, but the other person files an appeal, and if I have to, I am the respondent, and if I have to challenge that one particular issue which is answered against me, whether I have to compulsorily file a cross objection or whether I can just argue on that point.
मला वाटतं आर्ग्युमेंट सपोर्ट करणारी करता येतील. कारण असं आहे, नुसतं फाइंडिंग अपिलाने चॅलेंज करता येणार नाही, त्याचा क्रॉस ऑब्जेक्शन नाही करता येणार नाही. पण यू कॅन चॅलेंज इट बाय वे ऑफ आर्ग्युमेंट when the other side is arguing the case.
Yes.
Ah.
So the issue which is decided against me, I can appeal that just by arguing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else who wants to ask a question? I think Rajendra Ravarani has raised his hand. पण ते मला राजेंद्र रावणेंना आवाज येतोय की नाही मला कळत नाही. उमेश सावंत एक होते, त्यांचं झालं आहे. राजेंद्र रावराणे मला दिसत आहेत की त्यांना काहीतरी विचारायचं आहे. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दॅट अजून कोणाला काही विचारायचं तर प्लीज रेज युअर हँड. रावराणे साहेब तुम्हाला ऐकू येत आहे का? तुम्ही अनम्यूट केलं तरी चालेल.
हॅलो
हॅलो.
हॅलो.
हा बोला.
हा, मी रावराणे बोलतो साहेब. माझी क्वेरी आहे.
बोला.
स्पेसिफिक रिल फॅक्ट सेक्शन 6 खाली जर सूट असेल तर माय क्वेरी इज दॅट वेदर डिफेंडंट कॅन फाइल काउंटर क्लेम इन सूट फाइल सेक्शन 6 ऑफ स्पेसिफिक रिल फॅक्ट.
आता कसं आहे माहितीये का, सेक्शन 6च्या सूटचा स्कोप मुळातच इतका कमी आहे, त्याच्या डिफेंडंटला काउंटर क्लेम करण्याचा राईट काय डिप्राईव्ह केलेला नाहीये. परंतु जर त्याने केला आणि जे काय निकाल होईल त्याच्या विरुद्ध अपील होणार नाही एवढं तर नक्की.
पण साहेब जर काउंटर क्लेम जर इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ टायटल अँड पोझिशन असेल
नाही तर ते सेक्शन 6च्या नाही स्कोपच्या बाहेर जाणार ना. नाही हॅलो,
स्कोपच्या बाहेर जाणार.
म्हणजे सेक्शन 6च्या सूटच्या स्कोपच्या बाहेर जर जाणार असेल तर तो काउंटर क्लेमही करता येणार नाही.
काउंटर क्लेम इज नॉट स्पेसिफिकली बार इन सेक्शन 6. सेक्शन 6 मध्ये काउंटर क्लेम बार केला नाही आहे. म्हणजे काउंटर क्लेमची प्रोव्हिजन जी सीपीसीची आहे दॅट विल बी इक्वली ऍप्लिकेबल टू सूट्स फाइल्ड अगेन्स्ट सेक्शन 6 ऑफ द स्पेसिफिक.
सेक्शन 6 ला काउंटर क्लेम नाही.
हॅलो, नेहमी या सोफार मे बी ऍप्लिकेबल असतात ना. तर तो जर मुळात सेक्शन 6च्या स्कोपच्या बाहेरच जाणार असेल काउंटर क्लेम तर ऑब्जेक्ट, कारण प्लेंटिफला मुळात स्पीडी रेमेडी म्हणूनच तो दिलाय ना, राईट.
इट इज अ स्पेशल रेमेडी.
स्पेशल रेमेडी आहे ती. त्यामुळे त्याचा स्कोप काडी मात्र वाढवता येणार नाही कोणाला. मग नायदर प्लेंटिफ नॉर डिफेंडंट कॅन वाइडन दॅट स्कोप.
May I say something, sir? May I say something? रावराणेच्याच प्रश्नाच्या बाबतीत मला असं म्हणायचं आहे की जर का काउंटर क्लेम मध्ये he cannot claim for restoration of possession etc. आणि सेक्शन 6च्या स्कोपच्या कम्प्लिटली बाहेर जाणार तो. he will have an independent remedy. He can have a defense. But counter claim may not be maintainable.
कारण त्याने सेक्शन 6च्या सूटचा स्कोप वाढवला जाईल ना. तो वाढवला जाता कामा नये. हाच मूळ ऑब्जेक्ट आहे सेक्शन 6चा.
करेक्ट सर, करेक्ट.
इनफॅक्ट प्लेंटिफला सुद्धा आपलं टायटल अलेज करता येणार नाही सेक्शन 6 सूट मध्ये. त्याची रेमेडी फक्त पोझेशन अँड डिस्पोजेशन एवढीच आहे.
Yes, got it, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hello. बोला. हॅलो संग्राम. हॅलो. बोल करंदीकर बोल.
My query is, sir, in section 6 suit only, section 6 of specific relief act, if any interim injunction is issued in section 6 suit, and rightly said appeal is barred, then what is remedy to challenge that interim injunction order?
पण रेमेडी जी आहे ना ती रिट पिटिशन होणार ना. याचं कारण हे बघ, रिट पिटिशन होणार. रिव्हिजन इंटरलॉक्युटरी ऑर्डर विरुद्ध होत नाही. आता हे बघ, एक
Right.
उदाहरण मी तुम्हाला देतो. मी एक पॉइंट असा बोलताना राहिलाय माझा, की कंटेम्प्टची जी ऑर्डर असते ना, तर कंटेम्प्टच्या ऑर्डर 39 रूल 1 किंवा 4 चा जर ब्रीच केला 2 चा, तर कंटेम्प्टची जी प्रोव्हिजन आहे 2A किंवा 11 मध्ये, ती ऑर्डर जर कंटेम्प्ट आहे असं धरून जर पनिशमेंट देणारी झाली तर अपील आहे. पण समजा तो ऍप्लिकेशन रिजेक्ट केला, होल्डिंग दॅट डिफेंडंट इज नॉट गिल्टी ऑफ कंटेम्प्ट, तर रेमेडी काय? अपील नाही आहे. मग रेमेडी इज
Yes.
बाय वे ऑफ रिट पिटिशन. कारण देर इज नो अपील अगेन्स्ट ऍक्विटल इन अन ऍक्शन फॉर कंटेम्प्ट. म्हणून मग रिट पिटिशन होणार. लक्षात आलं?
Okay.
तसंच
Yes, sir.
हे
Thank you, sir.
जिथे अपील नाही तिथे रिव्हिजन. पण रिव्हिजन हा इंटरलॉक्युटरी ऑर्डर विरुद्ध नाही आहे. मग रिव्हिजन पण
Yes.
नसेल तर रिट पिटिशन 227 चा. हा,
Good, man. Yes.
ओके, एनीबडी एल्स? अजून
Sir,
कोणाला काही
माझी
question
एक-
विचारायचं आहे?
तसं माझी एक अजून एक क्वेरी आहे, एक क्वेश्चन
हा.
आहे मला.
हा.
कोण बोलतंय? कोण बोलतंय?
राकेश पाठक.
पाठक.
हॅलो.
प्लीज क्वेश्चन विचारायच्या अगोदर नाव सांगा जरा फक्त.
हा, राकेश पाठक बोलतोय मी.
हा.
हॅलो.
बोल राकेश.
हा सर, तुम्ही
हा.
म्हणालात इन रेंट ऍक्ट इफ
हा.
डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट पास ऑर्डर इन अपील,
हा,
so there is a no second appeal is provided in rent
बरोबर
act.
बरोबर
So
बरोबर.
what is the remedy?
हा,
Revision.
सांगतो रिव्हिजन होणार. पूर्वी काय होतं, अगदी पूर्वी मी जेव्हा ज्युनियर म्हणून प्रॅक्टिस करायला आलो ना, तेव्हा आधी रिव्हिजन करायचे लोक, नंतर रिट पिटिशन सुरू झालेले. पण माझ्याच एका कामात जस्टिस मर्लापल्लेनी HPCL कामात असा व्ह्यू घेतला की रिट पिटिशन कुठे, रिव्हिजन कुठे बार केलाय? रिट पिटिशन का करता तुम्ही? अपील बार केलाय. मग अपील बार केलाय तर रिव्हिजन ओपन आहे ना. म्हणून हल्ली हायकोर्टामध्ये रेंट ऍक्टच्या मॅटर्स मध्ये रिव्हिजन फाईल होतो आणि रिट होत नाही. हा,
Yes sir. Thank you very much.
बणगे साहेब तुम्ही दिसताय.
एक छोटीशी क्वेरी आहे.
छोटीशी बोला.
सूट फाइल बाय द प्लेंटिफ डिसमिस,
हा,
अपील फाइल बाय द अगेन प्लेंटिफ एज appellant dismiss,
हो,
appellate court given some other verdict which
Huh.
is rather against the defendant.
हा,
Again the plaintiff filed
Huh.
a second appeal in the high court
हा,
which was summarily dismissed.
हा,
Now the defendant have no right to file the cross objection because
But-
appeal is not admitted.
बरोबर.
What are the passing remarks on the defendant in that particular, whether it is a binding on the defendant or he can challenge in some other suit? That is my difficulty.
नाही, इट विल बाइंड द डिफेंडंट फॉर ऑल टाइम्स, हे बरोबर. पण
हा.
ती रेमेडी जी आहे ना, ती अपील न होता ही कॅन फाईल अ रिट पिटिशन. हे बघा, रिट पिटिशनला बंधन नाही आहे. रिट पिटिशन फाईल करणं हे आपल्याला समवॉट राईटच आहे. वेदर टू एक्झरसाइज डिस्क्रेशन इन फेवर ऑफ दॅट पर्सन इज फॉर द कोर्ट.
But how a defendant who has a right to file the cross objection when the appeal is presented by the appellant, how he can go for the writ petition?
नाही, पण त्याने अपील केलंच नाही.
नाही, त्याने
किंवा
appeal
डिसमिस
केलं.
झालं. ऐका ना, डिसमिस झालं,
हा.
डिसमिस झालं
Yes.
तर ह्याला रिट पिटिशन फाईल करता येईल. असं कुठे आहे की अपील डिसमिस झालं म्हणून याला करता येणार नाही? कारण काय सांगतो, समजा त्यांनी अपील केलं असतं
हा.
आणि डिफेंडंटने क्रॉस ऑब्जेक्शन केलं असतं
Right.
आणि
Right.
अपील डिसमिस झालं,
The cross objection will stand.
बी नंबर्ड एज अ अपील.
Yes. certainly.
So no person can be rendered remediless because the other side allows that appeal to be dismissed. पण हा पॉइंट आर्ग्युएबल होईल.
Yes. हरकत नाही, आपण आर्ग्यू करूया नंतर सर.
हा, आली वेळ तर आर्ग्यू करू.
Nicely conducted lecture. Nicely.
येस.
Thank you.
एनीबडी एल्स? अजून कोणाची काही क्वेरीज आहेत का? हे
सर,
हॅलो.
थँक्यू व्हेरी मच अँड इट वॉज रिअली व्हेरी वंडरफुल लेक्चर आणि खूप शिकायलाही मिळालं आम्हालाही.
थँक्यू. शिकायला नाही मिळालेलं, मी फक्त प्रोव्हिजन सांगून दिले आहेत की ज्या वाचायला पाहिजेत. बाकी काय. हॅलो संग्राम.
येस सर.
संग्राम, एक
हा, हा, सर.
कन्क्लुडिंग बोलतो.
येस सर.
हा, मी तुमचे सगळ्यांचे आभार मानतो की तुम्ही मला इथे बोलायला बोलवलं. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, तुमचा रिस्पॉन्स सगळ्यांचा इतका छान आहे की मला खूप बरं वाटलं. विशेषतः काल आणि आज मी ज्या नोट्स पाठवल्या त्या सगळ्या ज्युनियर्सनी आणि सिनियर्सनी वाचलेल्या आहेत. काही ज्युनियर्सनी त्याच्यावर काम केलंय. विशेषतः मिहिरने तर त्या सगळ्या ऑथॉरिटीज काढून पाठवल्या सुद्धा आपल्या ग्रुपवर. त्यामुळे बऱ्याच लोकांना त्या बघायलाही मिळाल्या असणार. तर माझी अशी इच्छा आहे आणि अशी सूचना आहे की असंच जर ह्या लेक्चर सिरीज जर तुम्ही चालू ठेवल्यात तर प्रत्येक लेक्चरला मी स्पेक्टेटर म्हणून जॉईन होईन आणि मलाही खूप बघायला मिळेल, शिकायला मिळेल. कारण असं आहे की शेवटी हा सगळा इतका व्हास्ट टॉपिक आहे लॉ. कोणी काही शिकलेला नसतो. जसं जसं आपण जास्त बघायला जातो तस तसं आपल्याला कळतं की अरे हे आधी आपल्याला कळलं नव्हतं, आपल्याला आधी जाणवलं नव्हतं. आणि माझी अशी इच्छा आहे की आपल्या तिथल्या ज्युनियर्सनी हायकोर्टामध्ये सुद्धा यायला सुरुवात करावी. आता लॉकडाऊन वगैरे जाऊ देत, हे सगळं झालं की नंतर आपण स्वतः ज्युनियर्सनी इथे यावं आणि कामं चालवावीत आणि जे काय लागेल ती मदत, असिस्टन्स आपण त्यांना देऊ. आणि ज्युनियर्सनी सारखा अभ्यास करत राहावा. या निमित्ताने माझंही बरचसं वाचून झालं. बऱ्याचशा गोष्टी नव्याने मला जाणवल्या की अरे ह्या मी आधी एवढ्या जाणीवपूर्वक बघितल्या नव्हत्या. तेव्हा आय मस्ट थँक ऑल ऑफ यू अँड रिअली इट वॉज अ व्हेरी नाईस एक्सपिरियन्स फॉर मी. मला खूप छान वाटलं हे लेक्चर देताना सुद्धा आणि दिल्यानंतर क्वेरीज आल्या. आणखी काही क्वेरीज असतील तर एरवी ग्रुपवर आपण डिस्कस करू शकतो. हा, थँक्यू व्हेरी मच. आणि हा उपक्रम असाच चालू ठेव संग्राम.
येस सर, येस.
हा उपक्रम असाच चालू ठेव. खूप छान यश मिळेल, ज्युनियर्सची तयारी होईल आणि आम्हालाही बरं वाटेल की अरे ज्युनियर्स आर इंटरॅक्टिंग अँड रिॲक्टिंग टू अस, रिस्पॉन्डिंग टू अस.
संग्राम, या आठवड्यात आणखी एक लेक्चर ठेव सरांचं.
बालावलकर साहेब, मी सुद्धा तुमच्याच सारखं म्हणतो की अशी जर का लेक्चर सिरीज चालू ठेवली तर आय वुड ऑल्सो लव्ह टू जॉईन इन द लेक्चर सिरीज ऑन एव्हरी लेक्चर.
येस,
बाय एव्हरी स्पीकर.
खरंय. आणि हॅलो, आता तर सवड आहे सिनियर्सना सगळ्या, आपल्याला म्हणा किंवा तिकडच्या सुद्धा, त्या सिनियर्सनी सुद्धा कॉन्ट्रीब्युट करावं लेक्चर सिरीज मध्ये. त्यांनी लेक्चर्स द्यावीत.
एस्पेशली ट्रायल्सच्या बद्दल जर का दिली तर फार चांगलं होईल.
हो, कारण मी मागे पण सांगितलं त्याप्रमाणे अपेलेट साइडच्या आम्हा लॉयर्सना ट्रायल कोर्टाचा एक्सपिरियन्स जास्त नाही, मला तर. आणि ती उणीव मला वारंवार जाणवते. माझे वडील म्हणायचे की तुझी ती उणीव कायम राहणार. तर त्यामुळे मला जाता जाता शिकायला मिळालं तर बरं होईल ना.
Absolutely, sir.
Sir, we will continue with this lecture series. Before concluding, एक जस्ट 2 गोष्टी सांगतो फक्त, ज्या आमच्या काही काल डिस्कशन मध्ये आल्या त्या मुद्दाम सगळ्यांना सांगतो.
बोल.
एक म्हणजे काल खांडेबरकर साहेबांचं जे आर्बिट्रेशन हा इश्यू वरती जे लेक्चर झालं त्याच्यामध्ये शेवटी डिस्कशन मध्ये खांडेबरकर साहेबांनी स्पेसिफिकली असं सांगितलं की आर्बिट्रेशन अग्रीमेंट मध्ये पार्टीजनी आपल्या सिंधुदुर्ग जिल्ह्यामध्ये जी अग्रीमेंट होतील त्या अग्रीमेंट मध्ये जर ज्युरिस्डिक्शन सिंधुदुर्ग जिल्हा ठेवलं तर त्यामुळे जी काही आर्बिट्रेशन होतील ती सिंधुदुर्ग जिल्ह्यामध्ये होतील. आर्बिट्रेटर म्हणून आणि लॉयर म्हणून इन बोथ वेज आपल्याला इथे काम करता येण्याची पॉसिबिलिटी जास्ती आहे. सो देअरफॉर दोज हू आर प्रॅक्टिसिंग ऑन द कन्व्हिन्सिंग साइड, वेन यू आर ड्राफ्टिंग अग्रीमेंट, लँडची अग्रीमेंट असतील, डेव्हलपमेंट अग्रीमेंट असतील किंवा कोणत्याही प्रकारची अग्रीमेंट असतील, if there is arbitration clause, I most humbly request you, see to it that you put in an arbitration clause wherein the jurisdiction will be Sindhurg district. काल ही गोष्ट एक आमची सांगण्याची राहून गेली होती म्हणून मुद्दाम काल परत सगळ्यांना आठवण करून देतो. Number two, on behalf of Sindhurg district and all the lawyers who have participated from Goa, Kolhapur and Ratnagiri, sir, I most humbly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for giving us such a nice lecture and sharing your experience, because you have a very, very vast experience, and for us it was a great opportunity to hear you. आणि हा जो आपण काय उपक्रम चालू केलेला आहे हा सर फक्त एका महिन्यापुरता नाहीये. आपण एव्हरी वीक सॅटर्डे संडे, निदान लॉकडाऊन असेपर्यंत एव्हरी वीक सॅटर्डे संडे 2 दिवस लेक्चर ठेवणार आहोत. तर त्यामुळे आपल्याला परत वेगळ्या विषयावरती आम्ही तुम्हाला मुद्दाम बोलावणार आहोत. त्याचबरोबर आता सिंधुदुर्ग जिल्ह्यातले जे काही सिनियर लॉयर्स याच्यामध्ये या आजच्या कॉन्फरन्सला अटॅच झालेले आहेत, मी मुद्दाम विनंती करतो की मी SDBA वर टाकलं होतं की ज्या काही सिनियर्सना कुठल्याही विषयावरती लेक्चर द्यायचं असेल त्यांनी आम्हाला अगोदर कळवावं. सगळ्यांशी डिस्कस करून आपण परत पुढच्या आठवड्यामध्ये जे लेक्चर घेणार आहोत त्यामध्ये त्यांना संधी देऊ. लास्टली मी आपल्या सर्वांना विनंती करतो की 2 दिवस आपण यावेळी सिव्हिलच्या सब्जेक्ट वरती लेक्चर घेतलं. पुढच्या वीक मध्ये दोन्ही दिवस म्हणजे सॅटर्डे आणि संडे क्रिमिनलच्या कुठल्या तरी 2 टॉपिक्स वरती लेक्चर घ्यायचं आमचा प्लॅन आहे. त्याचे सब्जेक्ट्स आणि त्याच्यामध्ये लेक्चर देणारे कोण असतील हे आम्ही या ग्रुपवरती परत टाकू. आपले काही सजेशन असतील की कोणाला मुद्दाम बोलवा किंवा कुठल्या तरी सब्जेक्ट वरती तुम्हाला काय ऐकायचं असेल तर प्लीज आपला जो वेबिनारचा ग्रुप आहे त्याच्यावरती टाका. सो दॅट वी विल बी एबल टू टॉक टू दोज सिनियर्स अँड रिक्वेस्ट देम की तुम्ही येऊन आम्हाला लेक्चर द्या. आय वन्स अगेन थँक्यू वालावलकर साहेब, खांडेबरकर साहेब, अजित बनगे साहेब आणि सगळेजण जेवढे जण या आपल्या या आजच्या वेबिनारला अटॅच झाले, ज्यांनी शांतपणे ऐकून घेतले, सगळ्यांचे मी आभार मानतो. आणि यानंतर पुढचा वेबिनार नेक्स्ट सॅटर्डे संडेला होईल. त्याचे सब्जेक्ट काय असावे त्याच्यावरती आपण डिस्कशन करूया. अँड ऑन दिस नोट
संग्राम एकच मिनिट जरा इंटरफिअर करतोय. सॉरी, थोडस इतर ही काही लेक्चर आणि हे सुरू आहेत ते थोडस क्लॅश होऊ नये एवढं बघा. कारण आज काय झालं, आज 4 वाजता डॉक्टर तुळजापूरकर साहेबांचं एक लेक्चर होतं सेम टाइम. त्यामुळे काही लोक इथले तिकडे थोडस क्लॅश झालं की प्रॉब्लेम येतो. जस्ट सी टू इट दॅट लेक्चर कोऑर्डिनेट करून मग अरेंज करू.
संग्राम एक सूचना आहे. संग्राम एक सूचना आहे माझी. आपल्या ज्युनियर्सना एनकरेज करूया लेक्चर द्यायला.
चालेल.
ज्युनियर्सना लेक्चर द्यायला एनकरेज करूया, कारण त्यांच्यापैकी कित्येकांची चांगली तयारी दिसते मला.
चालेल चालेल.
हा, त्यांनी तुझ्याशी कोऑर्डिनेट करावं, आपण त्यांना उत्तेजन देऊ आणि त्यांनी चांगलं लेक्चर द्यावं अशी माझी इच्छा आहे.
येस सर, येस, डेफिनेटली.
आणि संग्राम आम्हाला पण त्या वेबिनारच्या ग्रुपमध्ये ऍड केलं तर करू.
येस सर.
हॅलो,
अभिजित करतो तुला.
वालावलकर साहेब, सिंधुदुर्ग जिल्हा बारतर्फे आपला आभारी आहे.
थँक्यू.
सिंधुदुर्ग जिल्हा बारतर्फे आपले आभार मानतो.
येस येस, आभार मानतो.
थँक्यू सर. सिंधुदुर्ग जिल्हा बार प्रेसिडेंट राजेंद्र रावडे बोलतो साहेब. सिंधुदुर्ग जिल्हा बार तर्फे आपले मनपूर्वक आभार मानतो. आपण छान लेक्चर दिलात.
हो रावराणे साहेब, मी तुमच्यात आहे, मी निराळा नाही. आभार नका मानू. आभार नका मानू. धन्यवाद.
येस सर, धन्यवाद.
थँक्यू सर, थँक्यू व्हेरी मच.
येस
थँक्यू सर. थँक्यू व्हेरी मच. मी ही मीटिंग थँक्यू.
ओपन आता ओपन केले.
अमोल सामंत.